All right. Hi, Randall.
Hey, Anthony.
So, Secretariat, we were talking about your use of the song "Oh Happy Day,"
Yeah.
which totally just makes the film so wonderful. It's that rousing moment. You planned it earlier in the film, and so it's there. We've heard that melody. We've heard the guy grooming the horse, and then later it becomes this triumphant release and celebration. That wasn't that just a brief version of that story. You had to fight for that.
Yeah. It was an interesting process because Oh Happy Day in about 1972 or 3 was a huge hit. And on the pop charts, it wasn't in gospel radio or Christian radio, which I don't think even existed in those days. It was just a hit. You could feel the passion and the joy in it, and out of nowhere, this seemingly spontaneously recorded gospel song had come on, and I loved it. It was exactly from the year of Secretariat's victory, or his Triple Crown, and I thought it was the perfect celebratory song, and it belonged to the period. The studio was hesitant about it, and I'm not sure that it was for any sort of anti-faith position or something, but it was different to use a song like that instead of just a kind of rousing score. Now, my composer of all my movies has been Nick Glennie Smith, and he is capable of writing absolutely stupendous music. It wasn't that I didn't feel that Nick could write the thing, but I wanted it to feel personal and unique and not like it was an orchestral score. And I thought, oh, Happy Day. And nobody else seemed to really see it that way. Nick, to his credit, went, oh, it sounds great. And my editor and so my creative team, but you don't know whether your creative team is not doing it because, in a sense, their desire is to give you what you're asking for.
Right.
And you can say, do you think there's something different or better? But they're trying to give you what you have. So the studio was resistant, I think, in large part because it was just different from the way you do it. So we had our first test screening, and there it was clear the anticipation of the studio was that the ending of the movie didn't work, and they wanted that test screening to convince me that it didn't work, and therefore I would change it. And we did the test screening, and the audience just blew up, just loved it. And one of my friends, someone I really respected, was head of casting at the studio at the time, and she was sitting next to me, and she turned to me and said, I'm Jewish, and I want that song sung at my funeral.
Wow.
And coming out of the men's room, you could hear men singing "Oh Happy Day," and suddenly the studio went, "It works." It.
And they came and apologized.
Oh no! Yeah, oh yeah, sure. Yeah, a ton of people said, "Oh, you were right and we were wrong." No, that doesn't happen.
Quietly let you have your song.
Yeah, just let him have his song and let him go wrong. But it's the creative process, of course, is like that. We have our ideas and we think, oh, people will love this, and they don't, or we aren't sure something works, and we find out that it really does. You look over and somebody that has tears running down their face, and you think, wow, it did work, or they laugh. And now, of course, the problem is when you want them to have the tears, but they're laughing instead, exactly. Or vice versa. Then you got some other issue to deal with.
Is it the Air Force, the Air Force Academy that
Yeah.
has? All right, you told the story of going and seeing on the wall. What did you see? So you saw the quote from Braveheart.
Yeah, someone sent me a picture of like oh, isn't this great? Your words are on the wall of the Air Force Academy. And there on the wall are, they may take our lives, but they will never take our freedom. And under it, it says William Wallace. And I every time I meet someone from the Air Force Academy, I'll say, William Wallace never, he didn't say that.
Randall Wallace.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, so living the Braveheart life, you've had a career with books and novels, and unafraid to share your faith and the things that inspired you. Early on, Chris Christopherson was one of those people in the strangest of circumstances, speaking encouragement into you. And I always say to folks when I'm speaking somewhere or something, if God can speak through an ass, he can speak through me, certainly. So he speaks through us. But the Chris Christopherson story was a pivotal thing for you, wasn't it?
It was, yes. I was writing songs. I had started a little record company. I'd had some encouragement, not so much economic success, although it was an economic success for me, but it was something so bold and different, and it worked, and I was beginning to dream that maybe this suggested I could have a career in something that was so mysterious. I mean, how do you becoming a songwriter or a singer-songwriter, how do you go do that? And Chris Christopherson was one of the people that I identified with the most. In that, Anthony, when I'm trying to make a decision and trying to think it through, and you think through things in the abstract, there's sort of this intellectual process you're going through, but how does that pertain to the heart process, the spirit process, the something that you just really want to get out and that motivates you. One of the habits that I've developed over time is to look at people that I respect or admire and say, what did they do in a similar situation, and what could I learn that they went this way, they did that sort of thing. And Chris Christopherson was an airborne ranger in the Army. He was a Rhodes Scholar. He was a Golden Gloves boxer. He had taught literature, I think, at West Point, or had been offered the chance to. And he was the sort of guy I thought I would like to be like him. I sort of identify with what he's done in his life. So he came to my school and was doing a concert, and I finagled a chance to get backstage to meet him, and I was so hesitant to intrude on his space, but I walked up and said, "Excuse me," and introduced myself, and he was immediately gregarious. I said, "Hey man, how you doing?" It wasn't, "Get away from me." It was, "Hey, nice to meet you." And I said, I write songs. I love to do it. I'm not sure what to do. My parents would be much more comfortable if I told them I was going to go be a professional, like a doctor or lawyer or something that they had dreamed that I could be, and something secure and sensible. And he said, "Oh man, you got to go to Nashville. You got to go." And so it wasn't that he had heard my music and went, "Oh, you have talent," or anything like that. If there was anything in our encounter, it was that I had the willingness to go up and introduce myself and say hello, because there are a lot of people who would lean back and go, "Well, what if I'm intruding on him? What if?" And that's a real thing.
And he was incredibly drunk at the time.
He was drunk,
which was another thing, but still, that encounter gave you permission to go and become something different.
That's right. That's right.
That's an incredible thing.
And I have run into him 3 different times.
Oh, really?
And brought up the story each time, and he never remembered it in any of the times, and yet he thought it was so cool. He was having memory issues, but when I would tell him about it, he'd go, "Man, that's great." And he'd say to friends, this guy, and I encouraged him. and it was really beautiful. I mean, I will be eternally grateful to him, and of course continue to admire him as one of the greatest singer-songwriters ever.